Most people believe anger happens to them. Someone says the wrong thing. A coworker disrespects you. A stranger cuts you off in traffic. And suddenly, the fire is already burning. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Anger is rarely about the moment itself. It is about how quickly your mind hands control to someone else. In other words, every time someone provokes you and you explode, they just prove something. They prove they can reach inside your mind and pull the strings. And most people live their entire lives like this. One comment ruins their mood. One disagreement ruins a relationship. One moment of ego ruins years of respect. Then later that night, they replay everything in their head. I should have stayed calm. I wish I didn't say that. I let them get to me. Again. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many people promise themselves they'll stay calm next time. But when the moment comes, the reaction is automatic. Because emotional control is not a decision you make in the heat of the moment. It's a habit you build long before the moment arrives. The ancient Stoics understood this better than most people today. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca didn't try to eliminate emotion. They trained themselves to become something far more powerful. People who were difficult to provoke. People who could walk through insults, criticism, and chaos without losing themselves. And the truth is, they didn't rely on willpower. They relied on habits. Simple mental disciplines that slowly transform the way you react to the world. In this video, we're going to explore 5 Stoic habits that quietly reshape your emotional life. Habits that make you calmer, clearer, harder to manipulate. Because when you master them, people can insult you, misunderstand you, even disrespect you. And instead of reacting, you simply observe. And the first habit begins with something incredibly simple: a pause, a small space between the spark and the fire. Habit 1. Pause before you burn. Anger rarely explodes instantly. It begins with something much smaller: a spark. A sentence someone says that feels disrespectful. A tone that sounds dismissive. A look that feels like judgment. And in less than a second, your mind creates a story. They don't respect me. They're attacking me. They think I'm weak. Your body reacts immediately. Your heart rate rises, your muscles tighten, your voice sharpens. And before you realize what's happening, you're already reacting. Most people believe anger happens because of what someone said, but psychology shows something different. There is always a tiny gap between stimulus and response. A moment so small most people never notice it, yet inside that moment lies your freedom. The Stoics trained themselves to stretch that moment, not by suppressing emotion, but by pausing before reacting. Imagine this scenario. A coworker criticizes your work in a meeting. Your first impulse might be to defend yourself immediately, interrupt, raise your voice, prove them wrong. But the Stoic approach is different. You pause. Not dramatically, not awkwardly, just a quiet breath. A few seconds where you refuse to let your emotions drive the car. That pause does something powerful. It moves you out of the emotional brain, the reactive survival system, and activates the rational part of the mind responsible for judgment. In modern neuroscience, this is the shift from amygdala reaction to prefrontal control. But the Stoics understood this long before neuroscience existed. As Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That short pause gives you options. You might realize the person didn't mean what you assumed. You might decide the comment isn't even worth responding to. Or you might respond calmly instead of explosively. Or the outcome changes completely. Because anger thrives on speed, it needs immediate reaction to survive. When you slow the moment down, anger begins to lose its power. Think of it like this. A spark can only become a fire if it lands on dry wood. But if you step back for just a moment, the spark often dies by itself. Many people think calmness means being passive, but in reality, calmness is delayed power. It's the ability to choose your reaction instead of surrendering it. And this one habit alone can prevent countless arguments, regrets, and sleepless nights. But even when you learn to pause, there is another trap waiting. Because many people get angry, not because others are cruel, but because they expect something that humans rarely give. Perfection. Before we explore the next habit, if you find value in learning how to stay calm in situations that used to control you, consider subscribing to the channel Psychology of Stoics. This channel is dedicated to understanding the psychology behind Stoic calm, emotional strength, and mental discipline. And the next habit might be one of the most important, because the more you expect perfection from people, the more the world will constantly disappoint you. Habit 2, expect imperfection. One of the hidden sources of anger is expectation. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind that lives in the background of your mind. You expect people to be fair. You expect them to be respectful. You expect them to behave rationally. And when they don't, something inside you reacts. This shouldn't be happening. That sentence alone has fueled countless arguments. Because the moment you believe people should behave better, every mistake becomes an offense. Every flaw feels personal. But here is the reality most people avoid confronting. Human beings are imperfect, emotional, inconsistent creatures. They misunderstand. They project their insecurities. They act out of fear, ego, and exhaustion. Sometimes people hurt you, not because they're evil, but because they're tired, unaware, immature, or simply having a bad day. Yet when we expect perfection from flawed beings, we guarantee disappointment. This is why the Stoics practice something powerful called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of difficulties. Before entering the day, they would remind themselves, you will meet people who are rude, people who are selfish, people who are careless with their words. Not as pessimism, but as preparation. Even Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, wrote this reminder to himself. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. At first glance, that sounds negative, but it's actually freeing. Because once you accept human imperfection as normal, you stop being shocked by it. Imagine two different mindsets walking into the same situation. In the first mindset, you believe people should always be respectful. So when someone criticizes you harshly, your mind screams, "How dare they?" Anger follows instantly. But in the second mindset, you already understand something simple. Some people will be rude today, so when it happens, it doesn't surprise you. It doesn't wound your ego. It simply confirms what you already knew about human nature. And the emotional impact becomes dramatically smaller. Think about a rainy day. If you expect sunshine, the rain ruins your mood. But if you check the forecast and bring an umbrella, the rain becomes just another part of the day. Expecting imperfection works the same way. It doesn't make the world worse. It makes you harder to disturb. Psychologists call this expectation management. The Stoics simply called it wisdom, because the calmer you become about human flaws, the less power those flaws have over your emotions. But there is another mistake people make when dealing with anger. Even if you expect imperfection, you can still cause serious damage if you react while you're emotionally wounded. Because when you speak while bleeding, your words usually cut deeper than you intend. And that brings us to the third habit. Habit 3, don't respond when bleeding. There is a moment during conflict when your emotions are no longer under your control. Your chest tightens, your thoughts speed up, your mind begins building arguments faster than you can speak them. In that moment, you are no longer thinking clearly. You are bleeding emotionally. And yet, this is exactly when most people choose to respond. They text back immediately, they raise their voice, they fire off the perfect comeback. For a few seconds, it feels powerful. But hours later, the regret arrives. Because when people speak while emotionally wounded, their goal quietly changes. It is no longer about understanding. It becomes about winning the argument, winning the moment, proving the other person wrong. And that shift is dangerous. It turns conversations into battles. Think about the last time you said something in anger. Maybe it was during an argument with a partner, a disagreement with a friend, or a heated moment at work. You probably said something sharper than necessary, something designed to hurt. Not because you're cruel, but because pain often seeks revenge disguised as honesty. This is why Stoic philosophers trained themselves to delay responses when emotions were high. The Roman philosopher Seneca wrote something remarkably simple about anger. The greatest remedy for anger is delay. Delay, not suppression, not pretending nothing happened, just refusing to respond while your emotions are still bleeding. Imagine receiving a message that triggers you, a criticism, an accusation, a passive-aggressive comment. Your instinct might be to respond immediately, but the Stoic discipline is different. You step away, maybe for 10 minutes, maybe for an hour, sometimes even a full day. During that time, something important happens. Your nervous system begins to calm. The emotional storm settles. And when you return to the conversation later, your words come from clarity instead of injury. Many arguments that destroy relationships would disappear entirely if people simply waited before responding, because anger distorts perception. It convinces you that the situation is more hostile than it actually is. Time restores perspective. A message that once felt insulting might later feel insignificant. An argument that once felt urgent might suddenly seem unnecessary. This habit alone protects friendships, marriages, and professional relationships. But there is a deeper reason some people get triggered so easily. It's not always the other person. Sometimes the real issue is that their inner world is fragile. When your identity depends on external approval, every criticism feels like a threat. Every disagreement feels like disrespect, which is why the fourth habit may be the most transformative of them all. You must learn to build something inside yourself that other people's opinions cannot easily shake. Habit 4, build a strong inner world. Most people try to control their anger by controlling the outside world. They try to change people, avoid difficult personalities, surround themselves only with those who agree with them. But this strategy always fails, because the world will never cooperate with your emotional comfort. Someone will criticize you, someone will misunderstand you, someone will question your choices, and if your sense of peace depends on how people treat you, then your peace is fragile. This is why the Stoics focused on something much deeper. They built what Marcus Aurelius described as an inner fortress, a place inside the mind that cannot easily be invaded. In his book Meditations, he wrote, "People seek retreats for themselves, in the countryside, by the sea, in the mountains. But nowhere can a person find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in their own soul." Think about that. Most people search for calm by escaping the world. The Stoic strategy is the opposite. You build a mind so stable that the world cannot easily disturb it. But how does someone actually build that inner strength? It begins with a shift in identity. Instead of defining yourself by how others see you, you define yourself by your principles, your discipline, your character, your standards. When your identity is built on external approval, criticism feels like an attack. But when your identity is built on internal values, criticism becomes information, something you can evaluate calmly. Consider two different people receiving the same insult. One person depends heavily on validation. When someone questions them, it shakes their entire sense of self. Their reaction is emotional, defensive, immediate. But the second person has built an inner world. Their worth is not determined by a stranger's opinion. So when criticism arrives, they examine it. Is it useful? If yes, they learn from it. If not, they let it pass. No drama, no explosion, just quiet stability. Psychologists often describe this as an internal locus of control, the belief that your life is shaped more by your choices than by other people's behavior. The Stoics practice this mindset constantly. They focus their energy only on what they could control: their thoughts, their actions, their judgments. Everything else, they refuse to surrender their peace to it. This habit alone transforms emotional resilience. Because when your happiness no longer depends on other people's approval, their opinions lose the power to provoke you. But even with a strong inner world, there is still one final trap that can pull you back into anger. And that trap is the human ego. Because sometimes the reason we react so strongly is not because something meaningful was threatened. It's because our pride was. Habit 5. Choose meaning over ego. Many arguments don't happen because something important is at stake. They happen because someone's ego feels threatened. A comment sounds disrespectful. Someone challenges your opinion. Someone refuses to admit you're right. And suddenly the situation is no longer about the issue itself. It becomes about status, about proving something, proving you're smarter, stronger, more competent. This is where countless people lose their peace. Not because the situation truly matters, but because their ego refuses to let it go. Think about how many arguments begin with a simple disagreement and slowly escalate. Voices get louder, words become sharper. Both people dig deeper into their positions, not because they're searching for truth, but because neither wants to lose. The Stoics saw this trap clearly. They understood that ego turns minor moments into emotional wars. And most of those wars are completely unnecessary. Imagine two different reactions to the same situation. A co-worker dismisses your idea in a meeting. Your ego immediately reacts, "They're disrespecting me." So you interrupt them. You argue. You defend your idea aggressively. The room becomes tense. Now the entire conversation is about who wins. But there is another option. A calmer, stronger response. You ask yourself a simple question. Does this moment actually matter? If the idea truly matters, you can calmly explain it. But if the argument is only about pride, you let it go. Because protecting your ego rarely improves your life. Protecting your purpose does. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once offered a powerful reminder. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. In other words, ego gives people the power to control you. Every time someone insults you and you react emotionally, they have successfully pulled your strings. But when you choose meaning over ego, something changes. You stop asking, "How do I win this moment?" And you start asking, "What response actually improves my life?" Sometimes that response is silence. Sometimes it's a calm explanation. And sometimes it's walking away entirely. To the ego, walking away feels like defeat. But in reality, it is often the highest form of strength, because it means you are no longer fighting battles that don't deserve your energy. When you consistently choose meaning over ego, something remarkable happens. The world becomes quieter. Dramas that once consumed your attention lose their grip. People who thrive on conflict stop finding you interesting. And slowly you become the type of person others notice in a room. Not because you are loud, but because you are steady, calm, difficult to provoke, almost untouchable. At the end of the day, emotional strength is not about suppressing anger. It's about understanding it. Anger is simply a signal, a spark that appears when your expectations, your identity, or your ego feel threatened. But sparks only become destructive fires when we react without awareness. The Stoics understood something most people spend their entire lives discovering too late. Calmness is not weakness. Calmness is control. Control over your mind, control over your reactions, control over who is allowed to disturb your peace. That is real power. Because the moment you stop reacting to everything, the world loses its ability to manipulate you. People may still criticize you. They may misunderstand you. They may even try to provoke you. But something inside you remains stable. A quiet space between the spark and the fire. And in that space, you choose your response. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Not temporary strength, but the kind that grows quietly over time. The strength of a person who no longer needs to win every argument. The strength of a person who cannot easily be pulled into drama. The strength of someone who protects their inner peace more than their pride." If even one of these habits resonated with you, take a moment to reflect. Which one do you struggle with the most? Pausing before reacting? Expecting imperfection? Waiting before responding? Building a stronger inner world? Or choosing meaning over ego? Write the number of the habit in the comments, because recognizing the pattern is the first step toward mastering it. And if you want to go deeper into the psychology of emotional control, Stoic philosophy, and mental discipline, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Psychology of Stoics. This channel is dedicated to helping you build the calm, resilient mindset that ancient Stoics practiced for centuries. And if this topic resonated with you, the next video explores something just as important. Why some people instantly respect calm, quiet individuals. The Stoic psychology of presence. Because sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one who says the least.